Hey, what's going on? It's Jason Lucchesi with the No Flipping Excuses Show. I am so excited that you're here with us today. We've got an exciting guest, a really good friend of mine. But before I give an introduction to him, I want to say thank you to those of you that are subscribers of our channel. If you are not a subscriber yet, make sure you click the button below, become a subscriber, have the notification bell turned on. We would love to have you part of the community. Make sure you give this video a thumbs up. And as usual, we will continue the conversation after the show concludes in the comment section below. So make sure you drop a comment. Let us know what you like about the show. If you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to respond personally to you. And if you are listening to this over in podcast, whatever it is, iTunes or whatever you like to listen it to, make sure you give this a 5-star review and you become a subscriber. But other than that, let's hop into today's show. I've got my good friend, Mr. Jamel Gibbs on the show. Jamel, how you doing, buddy?
Doing good, bro. How are you?
Doing good, man. For those that don't know, Jamel and I have been friends. We have not yet met in person, which is a little odd, but we'll try and make that happen here soon. But gosh, Jamel and I talk all the time where he's got an amazing YouTube show. Guy's got 100,000+ subscribers. I remember him and I were getting our channels up and going during like the pandemic. I stopped. Jamel put in the hard work, delivers amazing content for the real estate community, and surpassed the 100,000 mark. So congratulations to you. I'm saying it on the video now. I know I wanted to share a ton on Facebook for you, man, but I'm super, super proud of you. If you guys don't know Jamel, make sure you check out his channel. Jamel is doing amazing stuff in the real estate community. But Jamel, for folks that don't know who you are, man, why don't you share a little bit?
Sure, man. So I've been friends with Jason for over 10 years now, I want to say.
Yeah.
Right. And we definitely got to meet in person. That's crazy. You could have a friendship, a virtual friendship.
Right.
And we run around in the same circle. So you know how it is, man. But yeah, so I've been in the real estate business since 2002. I started my education platform back in 2006. And I'm continuing to put up numbers today. In real estate, we do multiple deals every single month and continuing to put out a bunch of content on social media. So that's just a Cliff Note version of what we can talk about today.
No, absolutely. And I know you're doing, good amount of deals. You're also focused on, cash flowing assets, which I think as we start progressing in our career, that starts to become a focus point in making sure that we keep our money, right? And it just doesn't go to, things that, aren't paying us. Now, it's always cool to have the things, right? But it's also equally important to get things that will be paying you long-term as well. And I know you and I talk about deals all the time. And so why don't we do this for folks that are hopping on and they're watching this, what in today's market, Jamel, I know you put out a ton of content, so I know this probably isn't going to be anything, new for you, but for somebody just starting out, what would be a great route in your opinion for them to start seeing some wins? Because a lot of them get caught up in maybe buying up a training program and they get analysis paralysis. They become great from an education standpoint. They become very knowledgeable, but applying it and being practical about it, why are the percentages so small for people to actually go out and do, in your opinion?
That's a really good question, man. And, I've had people ask me that over the years, to be honest with you. But the way I look at it is people think too much about the actual process of the business rather than actually doing and going through the process. I think people overthink the business and they're afraid to make mistakes. So when I first started, I didn't necessarily think about anything because I was already at rock bottom. I was 21 years old and broke, right? So for me, any time I would have put in, anything I would have done would have ended up as a win for me. So I didn't have anything to think about. I didn't have a family. I wasn't married yet. None of that stuff existed. If I fast forward to, I'm 42 years old now. If I fast forward to today, I kind of understand why people overthink, because somebody that's a little older has something to lose,
Right.
right? When you're younger, you don't really have anything to lose. And I was just having this conversation not so long ago with somebody. I said, if I would have started my business now, I would have been a little more skeptical. So just putting myself in the same position as the everyday person that wants to get into business, but they're a little skeptical about it. It's because they have more to lose. But in reality, you can't think about that stuff. You have to really get out there and make it happen. You have to be willing to sacrifice some things. You have to be willing to sacrifice being comfortable for a little while in order to really get what you want out of this business. And that's any business. Doesn't matter if it's real estate, doesn't matter if it's, maybe buying laundromats, which is another business that we're into right now, and car washes.
Yep.
Right. But the whole point is, you can't think about it. You just got to do it. You got to be willing to make some mistakes, and you can't give up on it. The person who stays in the game the longest wins. That was something I learned down on Wall Street. If you continue to put forth the effort and other people drop off that entered the business with you, if after, let's say, 2 years, you're still in the business, you won, and you're going to keep winning. Most people look at, getting paid in a business as a win, which is obviously a win. You're not in business for free, but
Right.
just being in the business and staying in the game is a win within itself as well. So that's from my personal opinion. I think people need to stay in the game, but not only that, I think people need to take action, and that's what's gonna get you from where you are to where you want to go.
So, on top of people checking out this show, your YouTube channel, because you've obviously got a ton of great videos on your YouTube channel. On top of them doing stuff like that, what would be like a good action step in your opinion? Right now in today's world with, we're post pandemic, prices have dropped, not significantly, but they've dropped, right? Days on market, it's starting to get a little bit longer in certain markets across the country. There's some that are still, selling like in a week. So it's still kind of a unusual market. But what like would be a good action step in your opinion? Like, let's say somebody right now that's watching, they haven't really struck with their first deal yet, or maybe they're doing 1 or 2 deals a year, kind of like that. To me is kind of like a little bit of a hobby at best. But what would be a good action step in your opinion for somebody to start seeing some wins?
Yeah, man. So, first and foremost, I think people need to understand their local market. You just mentioned something that was really interesting. Prices have dropped on a nationwide scale, but like here in my local area, we're still in a seller's market. I just put up a rental property a month ago. It sold in 2 days over asking price.
Wow.
Right. So you really got to understand what's going on in your local area. I have a solid realtor that is on my team, and she understands the market like nobody's business, right? So we just had a conversation yesterday. She was the one who sold the property for me, but we just had a conversation yesterday. I said, so we're still in a seller's market, right? She said, absolutely. Houses are still going for above asking price at this point. So the first step would be to understand what's going on in your local market, right? Then find out what other investors are doing and copy them, right? But if it really depends on what your end goal is at the end of the day. So if you're in a business for some cash wins, you might be wholesaling real estate. If you're in a position like I am right now, at this point in my life, I'm looking for passive income opportunities only. Then those are specifically what I'm out hunting for, right? So the first thing I would do is number one, understand your local market and understand the opportunities that are available in your local market. And then from there, what you need to do is really think about what you want out of this business. Where are you in your life? What are you looking to accomplish? Why are you choosing real estate? Is it because you see everybody else winning in real estate? Because you can make money doing anything. Right. But why do you want real estate to be the vehicle? And then once you understand your why and why you're doing it, like for me, my personal why changed over the years. It was originally for money, like everybody else. We don't get into business for free, right? But over time, my why became my family. You know, I need to put my family on my back. So that's my biggest reason why. So once you understand your why, like why you're doing this and why do you want to do it, then that's going to help shape how you move in the business. So do you need quick cash? Do you need to fill up your bank account? Do you need, to leave your job in the next 5 years because you're going to be retiring and you need passive income? That's going to help shape the way you structure your real estate business. In this market, we're still at moderate interest rates in reality. If you go back 30 years, the interest rates were ridiculous, right? We're looking at, I think these interest rates today are similar to like that mid 2000s, like that 2005, 2006 interest rate era, right? Before the interest rates started dropping.
Yeah.
So we're still at decent interest rates. The problem is the pricing of homes is a lot higher and it will level off, right? So what the play for us right now, being that we had a few years with low interest rates, for example, when I bought, when I would buy a house in, let's say 2013, 2014, we might have been between 3 and 4% interest. And then during the pandemic, you were able to refinance that thing down to like 2%,
Right.
for example, right?
Yeah.
The play for us in a 6 and 7 and 8%, even 9% interest rate. If you're an investor, if you're taking on investment properties, you're over 9% in some cases, right? The play for us is seller financing is subject to, right? So the way we work those, we're basically focused on people who have a 3-4% interest rate. If we're able to take over that property subject to, we're picking up a low interest rate, which you can't get from the banks today. If we're negotiating seller finance, almost all of my seller finance deals, I'm putting between $100 and $10,000 down. I know that's a huge range, but it really depends on how our discussion goes with the seller. So if for example, if I see that a house is on the market on the MLS and I'm looking at this house with my realtor and needs some work, I'm automatically offering a seller $10,000 down with them seller financing this property at a 4.5% interest rate. That's my interest rate for today, right? So 4.5%, $10,000 down, 4.5%. I just told you I just sold that rental property.
Yeah.
I'm gonna make a $50,000 profit on it on Tuesday, this coming Tuesday. This is a property I bought during the pandemic, right? So I'm gonna take the whole 50 and buy 5 more properties with the money, $10,000 down each. That's the play for us right now. So we're wholesaling and we're also doing a lot of creative finance. We slowed down a little bit on the BRRRR strategy, and the reason for that is because the interest rates are not matching what they need to be in order for us to cash flow the way we want to cash flow. I'm not saying that it doesn't work in some circumstances, because it does. It just depends on the price that we're picking the property up at and how much we're going to cash flow on it. But creative finance provides the opportunity for us these days. And that 4.5% interest rate is beating any interest rate that you see out there right now. So that's what's working for us.
It's interesting you bring up the BRRRR strategy, especially with those rates, because if you're getting a decent rent and you go from a 4.5 to, let's just say on a rental property above 7%, that could drastically change things compared to how much you're going to be taking out. So you might be cash flowing right now at the 4.5 and you see all this equity in the property, right? Like, oh, I could refinance, I could get, $75,000, $100,000 out. That's tax-free money. And I could deploy that into other properties that we could do. Then you might get that cash out, but now you're maybe in the hole monthly, and you go in to try to find these other properties, and then it just doesn't work out. So numbers play a big factor in that too. So you bring up a really good point, which I don't even think a lot of people are discussing today, which could make make you no longer cash flowing, and you could go right into the hole. So that could be a really bad thing.
Yeah, you gotta really look at the numbers with the
Yeah.
Burr situation. If you're gonna be taking any type of financing, it can be a HELOC, it can be anything, right? Any type of financing from a bank with a higher interest rate, you really got to look at the numbers. With seller financing, you still want to look at the numbers, but you can literally negotiate your own interest rate, which plays a huge part because without the 4.5% interest rate, if I take that and go to a bank, yeah, I can pull equity out of a property, but now I'm at a 9% interest rate, and it doesn't make sense anymore for me to refinance a house. So what you really want to be thinking about right now is holding, not necessarily taking on bank loans too much or pulling out equity from houses. That play is gone for a little while, right? So you let the equity sit in the properties, and you just continue to negotiate seller finance deals. And sellers are willing to, I hear this a lot on YouTube. People are haters, man, but people, I can show you a list of properties we just bought seller finance, right? The whole point is people are willing to seller finance deals. A seller finance deal is going to come from a free and clear property. We focus on free and clear properties that are in distress, right? So when you focus on distress, you create the opportunity. So for us, if we approach a person that has a property, nobody lives in a property, they're not bringing in any money, it's a vacant property, it's free and clear, and it needs some work, and the person can't get the rent that they want, and if they do get somebody into the property, it's gonna be a headache for them because now everything is breaking down in the property. That's the guy that you want to be contacting. Multiple problems, right? And it fits the criteria that you need to fall into in order to be able to create the best seller finance deal. So that 4.5% interest rate now becomes realistic, where the seller can actually make some money on a property, make some interest on their money, right? Or make some interest on the seller finance opportunity. You get the property at a decent price, understanding that it needs work. And with seller finance, you can pay a little bit more for the property, right? And you can put some work into it, or you can sell it on for beginners, I would say sell it on a lease purchase as is and create passive income. So now you get some money, you get a property, you get passive income. If you're selling on a lease purchase, you get some money up front, and you can create a back end situation for yourself as well. That's where the money is at right now.
Right. And my chair went down. Oh, there we go. Let me fix that chair. I was kicking the button on accident and flows down. I was like sinking like I was in an elevator. But, hey, things happen on shows. So you just saw me go whoop. So, Jamel, you bring up some really good points, and that had me have three things that I wanted to make sure people knew before we continue on. So checking your market, making sure you know things. You could go to ListSource, and we have a video on this. You can go to ListSource, find out like your county that you're wanting to target, find out the top zip codes. It's very simple. We could show you how to do that. I'll try and put that video link below. You could find out the zip codes. I typically like to find, my top 3 to 5, maybe 6 zip codes. Like we're doing some stuff in Florida, and I'm in Indiana. So we use that for our own business for where are people actually buying for cash, and where are those, so we could target those markets for deals, so we could quickly get rid of them if we want to, if they don't fit like our buying criteria, our buy and hold criteria. So you can check that out. Zillow as well. You can find out recently sold properties in that area, see where the activity is. So check those things out if you're wanting to find out more about your market. And then third, Jamel, I wanted to ask you this. So what it sounds like, and I think a lot of wholesalers need to be able to do this, but I wanted to get your take on it. Instead of just going and offering, hey, I could buy your house for cash, we can close in 7 days. Most of the time, like, people aren't going to, take those offers. Most of the time they're not. So do you think it would be wise for people on top of their cash offer position, offer subject to pitch seller financing, and maybe one other one, like maybe lease with an option to buy, or maybe a lease option deal? Because you brought up a strong point with seller financing. So say for instance, Jamel, you and I are competing against the same property, You come in at 65,000. The seller really wants 80,000. I negotiate with them to do the 80,000 and do seller finance, and you're still at 65,000. Do you like, I think people need to understand like who's going to win that deal, especially if I could come in and put $10,000 down and they could do seller financing. They could do that tax deferment to where they're not going to have to pay capital gains all out at once. I think people need to understand it. What's your take on that?
Yeah. So a couple of things based on what you just said. So number one, I'm looking at, like, I'm still using formulas. So for example, I bought a house in, oh, what's the name of the city? I've never been to the city, man. It's in Florida. Not Jacksonville. What's the next one? Up
Gainesville?
from Jacksonville, not Gainesville, close to that.
Mm.
I hate that
wish
this
I
is slipping
knew.
my mind. It was what's the other city in Florida? Towards the north, like right by
That's a good question.
Georgia.
Is that where University of Florida is, or Florida University? No, that's where
What's the name of the
that's in
city?
Gainesville, I think.
That's in Gainesville. What's the other one?
Drawing a
I
blank.
want to call my wife and ask her, but anyway, I bought a house in Tallahassee. That's the name.
Okay, there you
Tallahassee.
go.
So I had a house that I knew a guy from California who owned the house in Tallahassee. He wanted to get rid of it. This was a few months ago. Well, a couple years ago, I want to say. He wanted to get rid of it. I negotiated close to what the market was going for at that point. It was about $125,000 house at that point. I offered him, no, actually it was $110,000 home. I offered him 100,000 and he took it, right? But it was done through lease purchase.
Okay.
So I controlled the property through a lease purchase. I ended up putting somebody else in there, gave him, I think it was $3,000 down. I got the guy to put down like $7,000. I put $4,000 in my pocket up front. I worked out a $750 per month payment on that property, and I rented it for $1,000 a month on a lease purchase.
Yeah.
Right. So I created an opportunity. Then on the back end, I made like another $20,000 when we cashed out of it a couple months ago. But my point is, it just depends on the numbers. So that property didn't need a lot of work, so I can pay more for it, especially if I'm going the creative route. Whereas opposed to something that's going to need a tremendous amount of work, I still got to negotiate that off of the price a little bit, because that's like saying, okay, I'm going to purchase this property at market value, then try to sell it for more than market value, knowing it needs a tremendous amount of work. Nobody's ever going to buy it. Right. So in real estate, you're focusing on selling the deal, not the property. Right. If you can sell a deal, it's like, I'm not selling the house. I'm selling the opportunity to own the house. So I'm selling the opportunity depending on who I'm focused. Whether it could be a cash buyer, I'm selling the deal. It could be somebody that doesn't want to go to the bank to get a mortgage. I'm putting no banks needed. That's selling the deal, not the house. Yep. Right. So when you're negotiating these deals, you always got to think about the exit, number one, but you also got to think about how you're going to best structure the deal based on the circumstances that the deal presents. So it can be subject to, subject to is going to have a mortgage on it, obviously. Free and clear property is a good seller finance deal. They're both seller financing, but two different angles. You might have a good wholesale deal. So what we're doing, just to answer your question, is we are providing multiple offer opportunities to the seller. They're going to take one of them in most cases, but you just got to present it in a way where it makes sense so that they understand, if they're in the fourth grade, for example, they understand exactly what's going on. It makes sense to them financially. Okay. And they have all of these options that they can choose from, and you can create something out of that. So that's exactly what we're doing right now, multiple offers. So we provide them with a cash offer, right? That's really what we want, is the cash offer. Yeah. Well, in some cases, because, in a lot of cases, we're specifically lowballing. Not necessarily, I don't like using the word lowball, because it makes it seem as if investors are trying to get over on a property, when in reality, we're following a formula that just, allows us to come up with the number that we need in order to make the property work. So I don't like the term lowball. I
Right.
will say the cash offer is less than what the actual market value is if the property was in tip top shape. In a lot of cases, they're not. So we are paying market value for the house
Yeah.
in reality, right? But we're really using that cash offer in order to be able to get the seller finance deals where it makes more sense, where we can come up on the price and be able to provide a seller with a monthly cash flow as well. So that's kind of, if they take the cash offer, that's great. But if they don't, here's another opportunity. Or
Yep.
if not, you can rent the property to me, lease with an option to buy. Rent it to me. We could arbitrage it that way. So that's basically what we're doing. Multiple offer opportunities in this market works really well. We're providing opportunities for the seller to be able to look at accepting an offer from different angles, and then we're just creating deals, man. It really does. Well, the average wholesaler, it might take them 20 to 25 offers to get one contract. We cut it down to like 7 to 8.
Yeah.
Because we have all of these different angles. And like you said, wholesalers need to understand this and how to do it, because it opens up the floodgates for more deals. You can literally 3x your deals by adding in creative finance.
Yep. I agree 100%. And, most people, I think they need to get into that goal as well. Like, hey, I'm going to put, 10, 12 offers out, especially if you're just getting started, you don't have your pipeline filled up yet. I would recommend start getting out 10, 12, 15 offers on a weekly basis. It's not that difficult, especially once you get out of your own way. Because you brought that up too. I think one of the things that, when we have, amazing folks like yourself come on here, we talk about a lot of the same things, and I love it because we're not trying to reinvent the wheel, right? But one of the big things that I like hearing from folks like yourself that are, successful in this business is you go over the why. Why is that so important? And I know we're coming to the end here, but why having a why is so important for being able to move forward in your opinion?
That's really the driving force of the whole thing, man. It's like you can't get into a car without having a destination. You know what I mean? So think about that for a minute, right? If I get into a car, I told this story not too long ago. If I knew I needed a gallon of milk, I'm gonna go get in my car. I'm gonna start the car. I'm gonna put it in drive. I'm going down the street to the supermarket. I'm gonna go into the grocery store. I know exactly where the milk is at. I'm gonna go grab it, pay for it, bring it back home, put it in the fridge. Right? I knew exactly where I was going before I even got in the car.
Yeah.
Right? And why did I need it? Why did I go get the milk? Is because we needed milk. Same exact thing with your business. You're just doing it in real life, right? You got to know where you're going before you even get there. So understand where you need to go and why you need to get there. So again, find something that's bigger than yourself, right? I always tell people that my family is, my reasons why are not about me. They're about somebody else. When you make your goals about somebody else, you can't let other people down, but you can let yourself down.
Oh yeah.
If you really care. You know what I mean? So
Yep.
my goals are about my family. I will never let my family down. So that gets me up every single morning doing what I have to do to be able to get to the goal. In order for me to get to the goal, I had to have that reason why first. And I know exactly where I'm going. I know what I need. And the vehicle to get there is real estate. So I'm the vehicle. I'm the driver of my vehicle, right? I'm the investor. Real estate is the vehicle. If I don't have a destination, if I don't have a GPS, which is the education part, right? If I don't know where I'm going or a destination to get to, I'm never going to get there. So have a reason why. Make your reason why bigger than yourself. And on top of that, know why you want to get there. Know what your destination is. Create the vehicle to get there and just drive. It's that simple, man.
I love it. I love it, man. And it's amazing that a lot of successful folks that we have come on the show are right around the same thing on what they say. And it's because we've been there, we've done it. So I appreciate you sharing that. And I know as we're winding down on today's episode, it's been a remarkable show. And one of the big things that I like to do towards the end, and I know we've had you on the show, but it's been a while, it's been a few years. what is two things? What's been a really good like staple of a book that you've either read or listened on audio that's been a really good book over the years? And what's been like a recent read that you would recommend, either audio or sitting down and reading the book?
One of my favorite, if we're talking financial books, one of my favorite books of all time, and people might agree with this, is the Richest Man in Babylon. I just love that book, man. When I went through it, so at one point in my business, I was focused on cash, just building up cash.
Yep.
And probably 10 years ago, I want to say, I had this epiphany, like I can't keep hustling because I'm going to be 40 years old in 10 years or whatever. 40, I was in my early 30s, 42 now. Right. So I went through the Richest Man in Babylon. It was like a light bulb went off in my head where it said you need to focus on passive income investing. That changed the trajectory of the way my business looked moving forward. Right. So I equate my passive income mindset to that book, as well as a couple of friends that you and I have, looking at like Daniel Clayman and Rob Swanson, and knowing what Rob went through a couple years ago and how that changed the way he did business. So, I was inspired by that as well to keep building passive income. But The Richest Man in Babylon
Nice.
is definitely a great,
book.
fantastic book for me, and a current read right now, I'm going through multiple books. I'm not really a reader, man. I got to be honest. I'm more of an audio learner.
Same.
I
can't sit down and read either.
Nah. To me, as an entrepreneur, my mind is going on 1,000 all the time, even when I'm asleep, right? My wife is telling me like, you're always thinking about something. That's what we do as entrepreneurs, man. But, so I'm more of an audio learner. When I'm working out, I like to listen to books, and I got a library here right now, man. I'm just going through a bunch of them. I can't really pinpoint because I'm going through like 10 books right now. I'm just kind of looking through Audible right now to see which one of these are my favorite. Current read. Let's see. If I had to pick one of these books, to be honest with you, man, I like a lot. I like the Damon Johns books, man. So like, you look at like Rise and Grind. You know what? I got a book for you.
Oh, okay.
Well, I'll give you three more. How's that?
Sure.
These are three equally. I think these are equally good, right? So I like the book by Sam Walton, Made in America.
Yeah, that's a good one.
I love that book, right? Because it really told the story of the grind, right? But then you look at Rise and Grind by Damon John, another one, and then he had another one, The Power of Broke.
Yes.
Man, when you're broke and you don't have anywhere to go but up, amazing things happen from being broke.
Yeah.
You can achieve anything from distress as long as you're willing to put in the work and you recognize the distress, right? So for me, when you're down, it creates the opportunities for you to be able to create greatness. I think distress creates greatness. So you need stress in order to be able to make things happen. And that book, The Power of Broke, is definitely an example of that. So I do like those books. Out of those three, I do like the Sam Walton book probably the most. So if we couple that with The Richest Man in Babylon, those are the two top books that you asked for.
Love it, man. I love that. I love that you share that. And then folks that want to be able to connect with you, I know you've got your YouTube channel. We could add that in the show notes here and in the description field. And then we'll have Jamel's link pop up right here too. But is there a different place that you would like for people if they want to check you out, man?
No, man, just YouTube. I like to provide valuable content every single week, and we can build a relationship from there.
Yeah, you sure do, man. You provide a ton of value, ton of content to the real estate community. So definitely go check out Jamel's YouTube channel. Jamel, any parting words that you have for our folks that are watching right now?
Really, man, just get out there, take massive action in order to get massive results. That's what's going to change your life. If you're in a slumps, if you're, and you've been doing business for a while, or what if you're just getting started and you don't know what to do, just do something, right?
Yeah.
Figure something out. Something is going to be better than nothing all the time. It's going to get you from where you are to where you want to go. Got to take the baby steps. Baby steps. You gotta start crawling. Crawling turns into taking your baby steps, and then those turn into walking, which turns into running. But you gotta start. A baby doesn't understand the difference between crawling and walking right away. And they don't understand the difference between falling and not getting up. We don't understand that concept until we get older as adults. We're scared to fall. Babies aren't afraid to fall, right? So you got to be a baby again. Start crawling. Don't be afraid to make mistakes. You're going to fall, but get back up. Watch the little kid. Jesus said it. He said, be like the little kids, right?
Yeah.
Be like the kids. You know what I mean? They fall. What do? They get back up. They might cry a little bit, get back up. Eventually they're walking. You can accomplish the same exact thing in your life. Don't be afraid to crawl, which is getting started. Don't be afraid to fall. And when you do fall, dust yourself off, keep going. You'll be a runner real soon.
Love it, man. And it's a marathon too, by the way. It's not a sprint.
That's right. I love it, man.
So yeah, awesome. Appreciate you so much, Jamel. If you guys enjoyed today's show, make sure you become a subscriber. Click the button below. Make sure you have the notification bell turned on, and make sure you give Jamel a big thumbs up here. Click that thumbs up button below. And as always, we like to continue the conversation below. Make sure you drop a comment. Let us know if you have a question too. We'd love to respond to your questions. And also, if you're listening to this as a podcast, make sure you become a subscriber. Give us a 5-star review. Drop a comment as well. Give us feedback on what you enjoyed so much about today's show. But other than that, I'm Jason Lucchesi with the No Flipping Excuses Show. Jamel, thank you so much for joining us today. It was a great, great show. And for those of you out there, thanks for supporting the channel. Really appreciate you. Have a great day. Bye now. Hey, go grab a copy of our brand new book. We'd love to put this in your hands. The Art of Flipping Deals. You could go grab your copy today at theflippingbook.com. Make sure you head on over to theflippingbook.com. We'd love to get this in your hands today and show you exactly how you could get free exclusive inbound leads in your business today. Make sure you head on over to theflippingbook.com. Take care. Bye.